Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez post-fight show or post-fight reaction right here on BWTM Sports. Thanks for joining us. So, in my pre-fight, there were a lot of. I said both fighters I felt were damaged. I felt that, and they were both contradicted themselves. I felt that Taylor would was saying that he was dead at the weight. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm hearing myself in the background, which ain't cool. At least I know I'm live. Sorry. So my apologies for that. Yeah. Taylor was saying he was dead at the weight when he fought Cattrall, was going to move it to 147. Yet he went on to take the fight back again at 140 versus Teofimo Lopez. So I'm going to bring up a picture here. As for Teofimo Lopez, he says if he still got it, and he was having issues in the background, his personal life, because of his wife and his not being able to see his son, and that's a very damaging thing. I don't know the intricate details, and it's not my business. But what I do know is that either can destroy a man, or it can be a motivating factor for a man to be better. I know Teofimo's dad cops a lot of stick for his son, but at the end of the day, he's his trainer, and you can only gauge on what a fighter manifests or what a fighter does in the ring. You know, the way I look at it is this. I said before, and I think a lot of people missed it. Teofimo's team, I don't know if they, I don't know if people were aware. I said Teofimo Lopez, we need to be careful of Lopez. Let me show you something here. Where's my screen? Remember I brought this video up. Remember I said to you in this video about Lopez and the Taylor fight. And I said to you that this guy, Martin, was great preparation for Lopez to fight Taylor. Taylor is dead at the weight. I wanted to know after being a year out, whether he still had got those intangibles that made him the undisputed champion. Injuries, then the Cattrall fight, change of trainer. And I'm not making excuses for Josh Taylor at all, because in my pre-fight, I said about Taylor being weight drained. And what we saw in that fight tonight is what happens when you think you can cheat the system, your body system, when you think you can cheat in boxing. And what I mean by cheat in boxing is that your body, can't make 140 pounds. So what you try and do is try and take the guy out early, get him into a firefight, get him to counter, try and catch him on the counter and try and see if you can stop him. Because Martin dropped Lopez coming in. So he thought, all right, I'll do the same thing as well. The thing is, Martin probably is better and healthier at the weight than Taylor is. You see Taylor's, he was trying combinations. But as soon as Lopez started going to the body, that's the telltale sign. As soon as he started going to the body, it sucked all the energy out of Taylor. As soon as Lopez started going to the body. So for me, Taylor's done at 140. He's done at 140. Him going up to 147, I'm sorry, he'll get mauled at 147. And I think he knows he'll get mauled at 147. That's why he's sticking around at 140. I mean, what's Taylor going to offer to guys like Spence and Crawford and Thurman? I mean, a fight that could be made, thinking about it. There's an interesting fight. It's Taylor versus Conor Benn. That might be an interesting fight to make, just simply because of, Taylor's coming off a loss now. Ben, looking for a fight in the future. That's a possible fight. If Ben wants to make a name for him, really legitimately want to make a name for himself, then Taylor's your man. Taylor would be your man to fight. Not Manny Pacquiao, not Kell Brook, not, dragging up people that are either retired or way, way, way well past their sell-by date. So you got to give Taylor credit for what he's achieved in the sport. But to me, looking at this fight here with Taylor, and the reason why I've not got the Taylor fight up, the Taylor picture up, is because I think this is the fight that is like, I don't know if you've ever played Road to World Cup. It was on the PlayStation. It's on PlayStation 1, or I think PlayStation 1 it came out. Road to World Cup, 98. Road to World Cup. It was a big game. It was a big game back in the day on the PlayStation 1, where you had to pick your team, build your team, and then get them ready for the World Cup. And you had to go for these preparations. What Lopez did right here was perfect preparation to fight Josh Taylor. Absolutely perfect preparation. A southpaw, European, stand upright, and he'd come off a decent win against Mikey Garcia now. So people slept in a Martin win because because Martin's unknown. Although he beat Mikey Garcia, Martin's unknown. People are lazy in boxing. There are lazy people in boxing. So you have to be fed on guys have to be literally fed on a plate to these journalists. If the media's talking about you, then everyone knows you. But if the media don't talk about you, it means you can't box. That's absolute garbage. So when I look at this fight here with Martin, I see that that's the fight. If you go back and look at the fight, and you look at where Josh Taylor fights, that's the fight for me. And I think that Martin caused Lopez more problems than Josh Taylor did. There was no snap on Josh Taylor's punches. There really wasn't. Was there any time in that 12 rounds that Taylor landed any? I know he landed some eye-catching shots, but was there at any point in time that he buckled Lopez or he made Lopez dip but you saw the shots 2 or 3 times when Lopez put his, actually said, right, I'm going to let you have this. He hurt Taylor. There was one left hook. I think it was a left hook he landed to the body. And you could see, I think it was around either the 11th or the 12th round, it actually doubled Taylor up. But Taylor's so strong mentally. He held up. But my word, Lopez has done well. You got to give Lopez credit. So, it was easy for Teo to literally do what he wanted to do in there. He literally could do what he wanted to do in there. And Teofimo Lopez knew that. He knew that. He knew that coming into this fight, his team knew that Taylor was dead at the weight. They knew that. They knew it. And they said, right, to ensure he's dead at the weight, we're going to go to the body. All that stuff is you learn that from people who've been in the game a long time. And I don't know why fighters keep persisting in doing it. You're dead at the weight. Yeah, I know you're a world champion. You're dead at the weight. You'd rather take a loss or chance yourself getting knocked out than vacating the belts and moving up. Because, if Taylor had vacated the belts and moved up, you say, right, he was king at 140. He moved up. The Catra fight, it didn't look good. He looked weight drained. He didn't look the same fighter. We can leave it as it is. He's moved up in weight. That would have been a smart thing to do. But now you're going to a high-profile fight when you're not at your best. You've been out a year and you're weight drained. Not really. And it's not like I'm trying to be, it's not hindsight. These are stuff I mentioned before the fight about Josh Taylor. I mentioned about the fact that he could possibly be weight drained. When a fighter starts talking about, you know what, my last fight, I felt like I was drained. I need to move up to 147. I think Taylor said in an interview, like he walks around at 185. 185 is like, is that a cruiserweight? Is that a cruiserweight? That's not even super middle. So that guy's having to boil down. So, and then you change your trainer. I said this before and I'll say it again. A lot of these trainers, particularly when they go abroad, they go quiet in the corner. They don't seem to have a plan B. All right, this ain't working. Let's switch up and do something else. They seem to go have a plan A. And then when that plan A don't work, they keep going back to plan A. They keep going back to plan A. I don't understand it. And for me, when a guy is throwing one shot at a time or two shots at a time, that's another telltale sign that a guy is dead at the weight. It's another sign that a guy's dead at weight. Lopez looked good, but again, I'm going to ask yourself this question: if a guy is dead at the weight, he's not got really snap on his punches, and you're able to walk him down. See, Taylor didn't look so good against Martin, did he? Taylor. Lopez didn't look so good against Martin, did he? But he looked great against Taylor. And everyone would say that Taylor's a better fighter than Martin, right? But if you're not healthy at the weight, you're just not healthy at the weight. And I feel as well, for some reason, I feel that Taylor was slightly intimidated by Lopez. Like, if you go to look at the when they go to touch gloves, Taylor's the first to bring his glove up. He's the first to bring his glove up. And for yourself, you were talking like a real bad man. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to do this. And then when it comes to the stare off, the stare off before you're about to throw punches, you're ready to put your glove up. A man that means business ain't quick to put his glove up. So I felt that he had real reservations about this fight. Taylor had real reservations. He had reason to have reservations about the fight. Again, not been out. He's been out for a while. He knows he's dead at the weight. And then you're going against a guy who can punch. So when you decide to stay at 140 and you know you're dead at the weight, that's not good. Okay, some other things. I want people to look at something. You've got to look at a guy like Lopez and all the other champions and contenders around Lopez need to watch this dude carefully. This guy's a wily old fox, and it's from his dad. Like the weigh-in, where he went there, did the weigh-in, and he took his shorts off. I wonder himself, was he on weight already, or was he just playing? Was that all mind games there to play with Taylor? And then when he said, "Do I still got it?" Well, do I still got it? Like when he said it, was that bait for Taylor to fight him? I really don't know, because the more I'm looking at it, and then he says afterwards, "Do I still got it?" And then you see after us fight, he says the same thing again. I don't know. It all seems to me that he was also old man in there. Taylor was old man in there by Lopez, and I give a lot of that to Lopez's father. You got to watch Lopez. He's a wily old fox. So now he's talking about retirement. Well, you know why he's talking retirement now? Because you talk about retirement and you're just beating Josh Taylor and you're the champion. Then, you got to call a man out of retirement to get big money. That's how that stuff works. That's how that works. So there's a lot of baiting from Lopez. You got to watch guys like Lopez. I remember Muhammad Ali once said, champion liars, champion fighters. Or champion fighters, champion liars. Or watch guys like Lopez, because they'll try every trick in the book. Taylor's thing is to get in your face and to let you feel his presence, let you know I'm about the business. But Lopez was able to meet fire with fire and still be able to box. Taylor, on the other hand, allowed emotions to to be in position to get caught with punches he didn't really need to be getting caught with. And particularly when you are dead at a weight and you're emotional like that and you're dead at the weight, that makes you engage in a way where you have to throw punches and throw caution to the wind when you haven't got a full gas tank. So imagine that. You're fighting a guy. The guy on the other side has got a full gas tank. He can do 12 rounds. He's comfortable. He's moving up in the weight. He's comfortable. He's good. He's healthy. You've got another guy who is like 50%. And he's trying to fight like he's 100%. So I mean, his nickname was the Tartan Tornado, right? So the tornado means you're throwing a whole heap of punches. But if you're going to throw a whole heap of punches, you need to have a good gas tank. And for you to have a good gas tank, your body needs to be well conditioned. But your body can't be well conditioned if you're weight drained. That's a contradiction in itself. So right there already, you've lost the fight. So Josh Taylor would have probably beat a lot of guys at, European level, fringe world level, you'd have beaten them guys. But when you up at the elite class, it's the small things that lose you fights, not the big things, the small things, the small attentions to detail. And I have to say, a lot of the UK trainers don't pick up the small details. They don't look at the small, they look at the big picture. Oh, he's a big puncher. Oh, he throws lots of punches. He stopped this amount of guys. Oh, yeah, in England, he's got the crowd behind him. All that stuff, all the big things. But don't look at small details. Yeah, but what happens? Can he still put out 12 rounds of good quality punches at a good rate when pushed against an elite fighter? Has he got enough in the tank for that? And if you study it that way, you look at it that way, you would know that Taylor had no business being in the ring with Lopez. And that's why I said both guys were damaged. So when I talk about Lopez being damaged, the stuff with his wife and stuff, and I know, man, and a divorce is never a good thing, never a cool thing, but it's necessary. And I will say this much. I hope that whatever it is gets resolved, and I hope that he's able to see his child. And the fact that this woman's been able to come, from what I understand, she was an air hostess. He met her he knew over a few weeks or something like that. He hardly knew the girl, and he got married to her. I don't know I don't know where Pops was in all of that. But anyway, that's not my business. But I hope that he can get that cleared up. And while he's saying he's resting and he's retiring, he can get his shit together, ensure that all that money isn't taken away from him and any future earnings isn't taken from him, that there's a reasonable agreement that he's able to give child support to his son, and this woman doesn't take him to the cleaners. I hope the judge is reasonable in that sense, and he's able to move on with his life smoothly. It's never nice. These court cases can get very toxic, very nasty, and lies can come out. And I just hope that I know he's a fighter and everything, and we've got to talk boxing, but I just hope that thing smoothens over. Because we've got a good fighter, an elite fighter in Lopez, who I'd like to see get fight against better opposition. The thing is, Taylor couldn't actually, the best way to fight Lopez is to put him onto the back foot, but Taylor couldn't exert enough pressure onto onto Lopez. He couldn't put that pressure on Lopez. And the reason why he couldn't put a pressure on Lopez, again, goes back to being dead at the weight. See, it all comes back to being damaged and dead at the weight. You're not Errol Spence. Not everybody can come out of fighting for having injuries and come back after a year and then fight at the elite level. Nobody can do that. Nobody can do that. Errol Spence can do that, but Taylor can't do that. So I don't know. For me, Josh Taylor needs to campaign at 147. I don't know where he's going at 147. But yeah, a Ben fight. I'd like to see him fight Kell. I'd like to see Ben and go and fight Ben. Maybe fight against Kell Brook, just to see what he does at 147. Do you know what I mean? Because at 147, I think his boxing ability, he'll walk Ben onto shots, and he should be able to outbox Ben. But it's if Ben tags him, that's where we're looking at right there. But I'd like to see that fight anyway. I really would. So let's bring people in. Hey, Andre, how we doing? So the question is Josh Taylor shot? Yeah, shot. 32 years old, 140. You see, these guys at low weights, the reason why they get shot or their careers are shortened is because a lot of them are losing weight. They're coming from ridiculous weights and coming down. So think about all those. If you're not living the life outside the gym, you're shortening your career because you're always having to come back down. And then you have to spar and get yourself into shape. You have to train your body. So that takes years off your career. That's what happens. So is he sharp? Weight train. And this would not have done him any favors. Good morning, Lavinda. Good to see you. I saw everybody counting Lopez. That person, I saw it as a perfect window for Teo to win. Yep. I said they both were damaged, but Taylor a year out, and the injuries and weight was my concern. There were a lot of questions about Taylor, and as for Lopez, I believed with Lopez that it was what he was doing out his personal issues outside of ring. But I said this guy Martin, like we've got here, Santo Martin, he gave Teofimo the great preparation for the fight against Taylor. I think Taylor's done. Okay. Catchell did it first. Yep. Catchell did do it. And a lot of people didn't think Catchell would do well. I thought Catchell would do very well against Taylor. Taylor's achieved so much. If he wants to come back and make some money, fair play. But I think it's end of a special career. I'd like to see him at like welterweight. Oh, no, I'd like to see him at welterweight and see how he does there. At least one fight at welterweight. Ben has a legit shot in that fight. Yeah, he's got a legit shot until he gets nailed. No pop. Teo was just walking him down night. Yep. Teo did look good. But again, hi, Watcher. Hey, Andre. Hey, Toby. Taylor did look good, but I just wonder if he was fighting a shell of a fighter. Well, Josh chose us that 140. He thought he could rattle Teo. You could see when Teo hit Josh, even when Josh covered up, his eyes told it all. It did. And all those heavy breaths he was taking. He knew what he was in for. It's like, uh-oh. Sound like bait. Teo made a joke about it after tonight's fight. He did. That's why I referred to it. Josh Lopez, JLO, waiting for tonight. Josh, he's food at 147. That's what I'm thinking. Unless, you see, there's some guys that when they move up in weight, they are physically stronger, they punch harder, and they do better. That's why Taylor's got to take a fight in between. Let me see a fight against like someone like a Kell Brook. Let me see a Kell Brook to see how he does against a guy like that. If he does well against a guy that's Kell Brook, who's like past his best, but he has aspiration coming back, fight Kell Brook. That's a nice fight. But he can beat Ben. Yeah. I had a feeling Teo will win after Josh's performance against Catterall. Yeah. People will go back to that Catterall fight. And that fight there, he says, Taylor said he wants to go back to doing what he does best. And that's why he lost Ben Davison. I'd love to know what Ben Davison would have thought about this fight and what difference he would have done and what difference his current trainer did. I don't know too much about this guy, but people saying, oh, this guy's a good trainer. Well, you know what a good trainer is? He takes you out this fight and says, you mate, don't take this fight. That's what a good trainer does. Don't take this fight. You know, I know it's about money, but your health matters more. I would not have taken a fight against Teo. I would have vacated and moved up because I would have had excuse. Look, the Catterall fight was poor. I'm 32 years old and I didn't look great in that last fight. Injuries and everything. I think I want to move it to 147 and give myself a testing fight at just test myself at 147. And there's a lot of great fights around. And, you think about myself fighting against Spence or Crawford or Thurman, or he could have just talked it up that way, and he could have repackaged himself at 147. Now he's had the defeat against Catterall, although he didn't get defeated. Everyone knows he got beat by Catterall, so we know it there. And he's had that rubber stamp by Lopez. Do you understand? So how do you rebrand? I would have skipped the Lopez fight, gone up to 147. It was almost like when Brooke was saying that he was tight at 147. I said he should have gone up to 154 and fought the champion, who at the time was what's that big dude? I think he was IBF champion. I've seen him now. As a big dude, big dude. He was big for the weight. I didn't rate him that much. He just had size. I didn't rate him as a boxer. Somebody will bring his name up and I can see him now. Just a big dude for the weight. Somebody remind me who he is. Teo made 1 million for this fight. He deserved better. How Lama's getting 3 million versus Haney when Teo is more marketable? Shake my head. He said he's retiring. Catcher versus Josh rematch. I'm not touching up with a barge pole. If I'm Josh Taylor, I run from that fight. I get more injuries. I run from that fight. Because remember, when you look at Jack Catterall, yes, he did well against Taylor, but who's Jack Catterall? He hasn't really. Yeah, he had that fight against Taylor, and people will say, yeah, he beat Taylor at night. But who is Jack Catterall? I mean, marketability-wise, if Jack Catterall now goes in there and he like goes and beats, for example, like what's this guy's name? Who's Simon Matchroom? Oh, I can see him now. I can see him now. Light skinned brother fought Taylor. I can see him now. Prograis. Now, if Catcher goes and beats Prograis, I'll say, all right, now we're talking. If he beats Prograis, now we're talking. Because he might just have caught Taylor at a time where Taylor was already weight trained. And it was an opportune moment to fight Taylor. Do you understand? So the Catterall, I think Catterall's a very good fighter. He's a very good boxer. I always said that. But I need to see a follow-up from that. But against another world-class opponent. Jeff Hurd. That's it. Hurd. I said Brooke should have gone up and fought Hurd. He should have gone up and fought Hurd, not fought Errol Spence. Go up and fight Hurd. But instead, what did they think of doing? They come straight back down to welterweight. Madness. Where does Taylor go from here? He's not marketable without the belts. He's nothing. What made him relevant was the belts. Yeah, well, this is my point. That's what I said. Taylor should have vacated, moved up because he knew he was dead at weight, and then market himself as the undisputed champion at 140, like how Lopez did. Advertise himself, I was the guy who was the undisputed champion, and I'm undisputed champion again. I was the undisputed champion. I'm now moving up to fight the number one guy at 140. Now, Taylor could have vacated and said, right, you vacated all the other belts. You should have vacated, moved up, and then fought, a fight at 140, 147. You would have been hydrated. You would have known where your career was at that point, because that's where your career really should be, at 147. But, but then I guess maybe Taylor's met Crawford in person and he thought, I don't want any of that. And he seen Spence, goes, I don't want any of that either. So I don't know. But you just imagine, just for a second, Taylor with that aggressive style and the way he is about himself, going up to Errol Spence like that. Can you imagine going up to Crawford like that? Just imagine the way that Taylor is. Just for one moment, Taylor marching up to Errol Spence like that. Taylor march up to Terence Crawford like that. Them men are a different animal. You can't march up to men like that. So I'd like to see him do it though, because that Taylor's got some balls in him. But I'd love to see him walk up to Spence. No, not even Spence. Walk up to Crawford like that. He'll catch a left hook. Haney's in the same situation. If he loses the belts, his value drops. Yeah. So them guys who are struggling at the weight got to start looking to move up. You look at all the great champions who, they've moved up through the weights. Look at someone like Tommy Hearns. Look at where Tommy Hearns started his career. He ended his career as a cruiserweight. Can you imagine? I think he was fighting down at welterweight or light welterweight. De La Hoya was down at what? Lightweight? It was lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, super welterweight. I mean, he ended his career at middleweight when he came back down to welterweight. But guys, look at Sugar Ray Leonard. Great fighters move up in weight. They have to move up in weight. That's what made these guys, these fighters, all-time great fighters, great, and moved up in weight, and they did the business. And then you got to respect someone like Hagler, who stayed at middleweight for so many years and was dominant at middleweight. I don't know. But congratulations to Lopez. Really excited to see where his career goes from here. There's some big fights, big money fights to make. Eddie Hearn, waitress, Kell Brook, under 60. GG buried him, bro. I know. I said it to Eddie's face that he's more or less throwing Kell under the bus, but he denied it flat out. But there you go. Right. Well, that's it for me. I hope that you've enjoyed this quick show here. And let me bring one. Let's see if I can bring something else up. Let's see another video. Let's see another picture up here. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Yep, I think so. See if anybody say anything else before I disappear. Lopez did an interview. He said he wants to retire. Yeah, that's more bait. That's more bait. He's saying he's going to retire. So if he says he's going to retire, there's two things that could happen there. The one thing that could happen, he'll come back quickly if his wife actually wins that court case. He'll be back real quick. But if his wife doesn't win that case and he can retain money, then it could be bait for him to get a bigger fight, make more money. Because if he's still in contract with Top Rank, then I don't know how long his contract is with Top Rank, because the one way to kind of get out your contract is to retire and take a year out, or take out but then you've got belts, mate. Bro, you've got belts, so you can't just retire like that. You'd have to vacate them belts. So then the guys talk about retirement. The one way to find it, if bro Lopez is really going to retire, is give them belts up, bro. Errol Spence Body Shops would warm up with Josh Taylor. Yeah, they would. We'll see. Retirement has been used as a way. Retirement is now code in boxing for pay me more money. Retirement equals pay me more money. Thank you so much, ST. Really appreciate it. Where's James Ed Bashir, bro? We may back. Oh, yes. Mr. Bashir is currently in hospital. And let's say our prayers for him at the moment. I don't quite know what the situation is. They had him. He was they couldn't find a vein in his hand. But let's pray for Uncle Bashir again. And I know he's in hospital at the moment. I don't know exactly the ins and outs. But let's pray for him. We need Uncle Bashir back soon. All right. Everyone take care. Thank you for watching BWTM Sports Gaming. Really appreciate your comments in the comment section as always. And I do appreciate the love. It's very motivating. Thanks.